and whose history in relation to Lord Kapil Dev is described here. Okay. So, to cut the story short, he conducted a Ashwamedha Yajna, okay, and horse goes missing, and he had two wives named Sumati and Kesni. So, Sumati had 60,000 sons, and they were on searching for the horse, and they find this Kapila Muni's, Lord Kapila's hermitage, and they mistake it that he has stolen the horse, and they go to attack Kapila Muni with offensive mind. And that time, Lord Kapila Muni opens his eyes and stares at them, and the fire within their body burns them into ashes. And then Kesini had a son named Asham Jasha, and who had a son called Anshuman. He later searched for the horse, and he is going to deliver his uncle. That is the story of the thing. So now after when he comes, Anshuman comes across Kapila Muni, understands that is a great personality, and starts glorifying Lord Kapila. And this is a continuation of his glorification. Mm-hmm. So in this, it's a wonderful glorification. The Srimad Bhagavatam is full of pastimes of the Lord and his devotees. And the devotees glorifying the Lord, and the Lord glorifying the devotees. Tushyanti cha ramanti cha. This wonderful loving exchanges between the Lord and his devotees are described in Srimad Bhagavatam. Now to relish this pastimes, all the pastimes, starting from creation, maintenance, annihilation, and other types of leelas, everything, the reader has to be fully convinced the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What is the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead? The ultimate position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, which is so very nicely it is summarized in the sloka in Bhagavad Gita. So, Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam, three conditions. If somebody claims to be God, so we can evaluate with these three parameters. Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam is the ultimate beneficiary of everything that happens in this world, Yajnas and Tapasas. Vasudeva Paraveda, Vasudeva Paramakaha, Vasudeva Parayoga, Vasudeva Parakriyaha, Vasudeva Paramjnanam, Vasudeva Paramtapaha, Vasudeva Parodharma, Vasudeva Paragatihi, Vasudeva Paragatihi, Vasudeva Paragatihi. Everything is Vasudeva. So the first condition is Bhoktaram Yajna Tapasam. We should be the ultimate beneficiary of all the yajnas and all the tapas, all the austerities, whatever we can think of, whatever we see happening in this world. If the ultimate beneficiary is that person, then he is God. Second, Sarvaloki Maheshwaram. It doesn't stop at that. He should be the controller of the whole universe. Is anyone in this world like that? He cannot control his own body. The changes that's happening in one's body, right? He do not have control on his family members. He do not have control on the society, community, the way things are happening. But the one who has the complete control of all these things is God. Sarvaloki Mahesh. Not only that, Surdam Sarvabhutanam. He should be the ultimate well-wisher of all the living entities. So this kind of summarizes the position of the Supreme Personality of God. And whoever understands this Yadvama, one who has this knowledge, Shantim Rachiti, he will attain peace, eternal peace. Now, why I am quoting this is, Bhagavad Gita talks about the Lord. And it not only talks about the Lord, it talks about the jivas also. It talks about the material nature also. It talks about time also, kala, karma, and all the activities, karma. Now, why it is talking about all these five things? All these five subject matters are discussed, but out of these five, it's all refers to or with respect to the Supreme Lord, that is Ishvara. Ishvara, Jiva, Kala, Karma, Prakriti. The remaining four is subservient or it is related to the Lord. The reference point is the Lord. Okay? Jiva is the servant of the Lord. Prakriti is the energy of the Lord. Kala is the impersonal feature of the Lord. And karma is a kind of activities that happens between the living entity, the interaction between the living entity and the material nature in the form of three modes under the influence of time, that is karma. So again, it is all something to do with the Lord's energy. So that is the position of the Lord. So that is the reason Prabhupada says one seeking spiritual knowledge should first study Bhagavad Gita scrutinizingly. Prabhupada uses this word. So once one understands the position of the Lord through Bhagavad Gita, then you come to the book Bhagavatam. Okay. And hear it from person Bhagavatam. See, we are all kind of somehow, by the mercy of Guru Maharaj, we are sitting here now discussing about Srimad Bhagavatam. But ultimately, Srimad Bhagavatam should be heard from the lotus mouth of the pure devotee. Okay. Why? Because that has a potency. It is as good as hearing from Sukadeva Goswami, Sutta Goswami. And slowly, by hearing this, so much of purification will happen that we will progress slowly in our spiritual life. Coming back to my point, that one is to understand the position of the Lord, then they'll be able to appreciate those activities that happens in Srimad Bhagavatam, the pastime that is being discussed in Srimad Bhagavatam. The other day in my office, there was one person called me, sir, please, have you read Ramayana? Yeah, I asked what happened. No, have you read? You must have read something. He tell me, sir, the other person has called this person and opened Google and showed him, see, Lord Ram killed a Shudra because he was a Shudra. Okay, and this person, he was so upset because his grandfather was a reciter of Ramayana. They regularly used to do Harikatha, Ramayana Harikatha. So he was so upset. How is it possible? How is that Lord Ram, my Lord Ram, can do this activity? So he called me, asked me, Now I asked him, who asked this question? So he was also standing there. I said, see, let me tell you something. This company is there and the CEO of the company is there. The CEO does some activity which is not in line to your thinking or your want. Oh, this should be done this way, but he does it totally opposite. So, can he go and question him, why are you doing that one? He cannot. To question somebody, you have to raise yourself to that level. Understand, then only come to his level, understand, then only you can understand what activities you are doing. It's simple. So similarly, for us also to understand the activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, we need to rise our consciousness. Rise in our consciousness. And Krishna consciousness is all about that only. We have to elevate in our consciousness. So when we do that, how to elevate in our consciousness is by following the prescribed processes. When we do that, then we'll be able to understand the glories of the Lord. So here, this personality Amshma seems to be in that level. He understands Lord Kapil Dev and he is glorifying. So in this glorification, he wonderfully narrates. Prashantamaya gunakarmalingam anamarupam sadasat vimuktam jnanopadeshaya grihita deham namamahe tvam purusham puranam. O completely peaceful Lord, Yatvam Shantim Rachati. The Lord is peaceful, so one who understands the activities of the Lord, his position of the Lord, will also be peaceful. Although material nature, fruitive activities, and their consequent material names and forms are your creation. Everything comes from you, but you are not affected by those things. The Lord's activities are not material. They're all transcendental, divyam. Everything is divyam. Okay. Everything is spiritual. You are unaffected by them. Therefore, your transcendental name is different from material names and your form is different from material forms. You assume a form resembling a material body. It is out of his causeless mercy that the Lord comes down like all of us, or he takes any form he wishes. He doesn't have any discrimination. He has taken the Varaha form, transcendental Varaha form. How many can appreciate that form? But when Lord took that form, it was so beautiful. In some of the South Indian scripture which I came across, this form of the Lord, Varaha Rupa, is described so beautifully, and how Mother Earth was sitting like a mustard seed on his nostril. And how Bhudevi prays to him that, my dear Lord, मुझे तो उद्धार कर लिया आपने. You have delivered me. But what about my other living entities who are living on my, in my, मेरे गोद में जो है, those living entities who are living on this planet Earth, what about them? So, the Lord says, don't worry. I will come in the form of the name, easiest way to liberate them also. So, the Lord has come in the form of his holy name, transcendental name. That is what is given here. So, any form that the Lord takes, Lord Nrsimhadev, serve, majestic form. Vamandev, so sweet, beautiful. Anybody can be attracted towards the form. That's what happened with Bali Maharaj also. He got so attracted towards the form of the Lord. He was ready to give up anything for the Lord. So, and even the golden fish during the Pralaya, any form the Lord took is beautiful, transcendental. There is nothing material. Now, to understand that, one has to be in the elevated consciousness. Okay. So, the Lord, out of His causeless mercy, just to give us instructions like those of Bhagavad Gita, comes down, but actually is a supreme original person. Purana Purusham Navayamvanam Cha. Anadim Ananta Rupam. Anadim, original, ancient, Ananta Rupam. So beautiful form. Vedesha Durlabam Madurlabam Atma Bhaktau. So, very beautifully, Brahma Samhita describes these forms of the Lord. Brahma Samhita. I therefore offer my respectful obeisance unto you. The purpose Srila Prabhupada quotes Yamanacharya. Bhavantam evanu charan nirantara prashanta nihashesha manoratantara adaham aikantika nitya kinkara prahashyami sanata jivitam. By serving constantly such a personality, serving such a personality constantly, one is freed from all material desires. Same shloka, you see, there is no, whatever the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, whatever the pure devotees say, the acharyas say, there is no difference. And whatever the Guru says, it will not be different from what the acharya says. That is why we need to kind of check these three things. Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Who can be a Guru? A Guru should speak what the acharyas have spoken and what the scriptures are speaking. These will be always in line. This thing will be always in sync. It will not be different. Mm-hmm. So, one is freed from all material desire means one is peaceful. As long as one has material desires, one will be always, in distress, agitated, fearful, But one is devoid of material desires, anna vilashita shunyam. Okay. When one attains the stage, all material desires, and is completely satisfied. In that situation, he will be completely satisfied. Brahma bhuta prasannatmana sochati na kamshati. So, you will never be affected by anything. You will be in that Brahma bhuta stage. Completely pacified. So, he is asking, is requesting, is begging, when shall I engage as your permanent eternal servant? This is the constitutional position of the living entity. And when acharyas are singing like this, it is not that they are in that position so they want to be elevated. No. When we recite this, they write these things in the first person, So, when one recites this, you also, first when we recite this, when we come across such verses, when we recite this, we kind of will be, without our knowledge, will be begging. But once we realize and understand these verses and develop that mood, and pray using these verses, then our purification will happen. So it is for our own benefit Acharyas have written such kind of verses. When shall I engage as your permanent eternal servant? Madhavendra Puri, our Acharya in our disciplic succession, he also has a very famous shloka which comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Ayadina tayadra nataye mathura nata kadavalokishe. So actually it was two more lines are there. Completely I'm not getting it. Oh, Dinataya. When my heart is longing to see when can I get this opportunity to, be in Vrindavan, serving a lotus feet. It's a very, very important shloka in our parampara, this shloka. Okay. This shloka describes the viraha. That is the ultimate bhava in our parampara, which all of us to try to achieve that is the ultimate goal. But bahunam janmanam ante jnanavan. So this will take many lifetimes, not with our own endeavor, but by the mercy, if there is a drop of mercy from the spiritual master and the Guru Parampara, then we can somewhat, if possible, we may get somewhere near to that stage. Okay. So here also, Yamunacharya is praying, when shall I engage as a permanent eternal servant and always feel joyful to have such a fitting master? See, he is only fitting master. Whomever we are thinking as masters, they are not masters. That's why even in corporate life or companies where we are working, initially when we join, you come across your boss is okay. Then you see slowly, you will see the real group of the boss. It's all temporary. So, your real master is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is what our scriptures say. Here, Yamunacharya also says. Manoratena sati davato bahi. Prabhupada writes, one who acts on mental platform must descend into material activities. So, we are all on at least I can talk about myself, not about others, on the material platform. Whatever one may say, even a tinge of material thinking or quality is enough. It is like a spot, black spot on a white cloth. When you look at it, the first thing you'll see is the black spot. So, whatever we do, the material three modes are so strong that is very, very mama maya duratyaya. The Lord so beautifully puts it, you see. He did not say maya duratyaya. He says mama duratya. It is my energy. Because it is my energy, you cannot cross over it so easily. But however, by the mercy of the spiritual master, by the mercy of the Acharyas and the Supreme Lord himself, he crosses it over as if it is a water in the cow's poop. Okay. Now Prabhupada writes, material contamination, however, is completely absent from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the Lord is never ever affected by that. See, logically also if you see, He is the energetic and the remaining things, everything is energy. Right? So, when the energy comes from the energetic, how can he be affected? The logically also it sounds appealing, right? Convincing. So, the energy, even though apparently we call it as material energy, it is the Lord's energy only. Ultimately, it is spiritual energy. But the shadow of the spiritual energy is the material energy, and with the contamination of the three modes, which is again, it is the Lord's creation. And when the living entity comes in contact with these three modes of material energy, because these three modes are very, they interact among themselves through jalak dikate. It shows such jalak, then you get attracted towards that. The living entity gets attracted towards this. It shows some magic, some beautiful things, attractive things. It keeps come. Makes the living entity to get attracted towards this. So that's the quality of the material energy. And why it happens, why the living entity should get attracted towards that? It's the will of the Lord. And the free will of the living entity. The Lord wants, you need not have to get into this material world. If the Lord's representative wants, we need not have to get into this material world. So it is the Lord's will and the living entity's free will that we get into this material world. Okay. So material contamination, however, is completely absent from the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is pure devotee. Therefore, the Lord is addressed as Prashanta, completely peaceful. Shantim Rajati. Free from the disturbances of the material existence. The Supreme Lord has no material name or form. His form is Divya. Only the foolish think that the Lord's name and form are material. In Bhagavad Gita it said, Avajananti Mamuda Manisham Tanumashritam. The identity of the Lord is that He is the original person. Anadi, Adi, Govinda, Sarva Karanakara. Ishvara, Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha. That's how Srila Prabhupada ends today's shloka. The identity of the Supreme Lord is that He is the original person. Nonetheless, those who have but a poor fund of knowledge think that the Lord is formless. The Lord is formless from the material perspective. He doesn't have a material form, but He has a wonderful, beautiful spiritual form. Satchit Ananda Vigraha. Vigraha means form. Made up of Sat, eternity, knowledge and bliss. Where all the three are present, he is called Bhagavan. Where this eternal aspect and the knowledge aspect is present, he is called Paramatma. Where the eternal aspect is present, that feature is called Brahman feature. Vadanti tattattva vidastattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti sabhyate. Okay. So everything rests in me means it is a Brahman feature of the Lord. I am in everything means it is Paramatma feature of the Lord. But I am different from all of this, Bhagavan Krishna. So, the Lord has a wonderful, beautiful Satchidananda Vigraha. Srila Prabhupada ends this shloka like this. So, only the miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons do not surrender unto me. So, people defy the position of the Lord, deny position of the Lord. And they are called Namam Duskritina Muda Prapadyante Naradama Maya Bhata Jana Ashram Bhavam Ashrita. So this is from Bhagavad Gita 7.15, right? And Prabhupada quotes this 9.11. Avajananti Mamuda Manasham Tanamashritam Param Bhavam Ajanato Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. People think that, very strongly propagate that the Lord is like all of us. They do not know my transcendental nature as the Supreme Personality of God. It is out of their ignorance. So, we all need to understand this position of the Supreme Lord. So this person, Amshuman, so he is glorifying the Lord by describing the position, the Lord's position, and how is not part of the material world. His form is not material. His name is not material. Everything is transcendental. So that is what is the gist of today's shloka. I stop here. Thank you so much for your patient hearing. And if you all have any queries or comments, you are most welcome. Hare Krishna. Sorry, I think I took a lot of time. Start was a little bit late and.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, bro. If any of our devotees has any question, you can raise them now. Yeah,
Shyam Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.
Let's go.
Prabhuji.
Dandavat Pranam goes to Guru Maharaj.
My question is, this Lord's name is different from the material names as per today's verse, and his form is also different from the material forms. So, in this Kali Yuga, name is the described process method given. So, how as a devotee, how we can properly understand the value of the name, or how important it is that just by chanting the names, so simple names Hare Krishna and Rama, that we can transcend above all the three modes and everything. So how can one know the importance, value of the name? Can you please prescribe or recommend something how we can do it?
Nikhil Prabhu, you are saying something?
Yes. You got my question?
Yes, Prabhu. I think, let me repeat what you asked. I think you want to know how to understand the glory of the
holy name.
Holy name, right?
So how we can be sincere throughout our life to this everyday regulation chanting of the holy name?
Actually, we can, if somebody comes from a science background, who comes with some logical reasoning, I would suggest that either they themselves can take up this chanting without any bias, without even thinking that it is the Lord's name. Try. They say, the taste of the pudding lies in eating it, something like that. I don't know which is the correct.
Yeah.
So, if one wants to understand the glory of the holy name, one has to first try it. Like if you want to know the taste of sugar cane, and you never tasted the sugar cane, then I may go on giving description, explanation. This is how it is. This is how it is. It's very beautiful. Initially, you'll have problem in peeling it and chewing it, but the rust you get is so tasty, so tasty. I can give whatever description I can give, narration, but that person will never be able to understand. So if one has to understand glories of the holy name, he can have he can take it up himself, or he can make somebody take up. A simple person, simple-minded person who doesn't have any bias. See, what happens is the faith also plays a major role. Of course, effectively, ultimately, the holy name will have its effect, but if you have faith, take it up, the results will be quicker. So, because this person is doubting or wants to not doubting, he wants to know, is it really true that the holy name can make that kind of effect? That maybe he can ask somebody to chant for some time and monitor if he doesn't want to do that, or he himself can take up chanting and do it without any bias, without any thinking, without even thinking that it's Krishna's name or whatever it is. Then one can see whether he can see the changes in himself or not, but others can see the changes in himself, in him. How this personality transforms, how it becomes so beautiful, radiant. And we have seen also this. People may be dark, fair, wheatish, or whatever it is. We have seen among our devotees. If they're chanting, we can see a different difference in them. For example, we can take any of our friends who have taken Krishna consciousness recently and compare his previous photograph with his current photograph. This is at the gross level I'm talking about, because that is how the question seems to be. Like materially, it is not material. How to know that one? If it is material, then these changes should not happen. Okay. Now that is one part of it. That there is a change in, because it is said that the face is the index of the heart, right? Index of the mind, or whatever it is. So when the mind undergoes cleansing and transformation, that can be seen through the face, right? Then, if he's convinced, then he can continue. And what happens rest is between him and his desire, his sincere desire. Okay. And the Lord sitting within his heart as Paramatma, how much he surrenders, ye yatamam prapatyanti. To that extent, he will reveal, as he reveals more and more, this entity will progress more and more. Okay. This is without the support of anything else. Just taking up chanting. Don't do anything else. Just chant. And it's really surprising. Even an ignorant person can become knowledgeable. I don't know how it happens, but it happens. For that, one has to try it. Now, second aspect is, when you become sincere and as the transformation happens in your heart, then you come across a guide, a mentor. So this is a process given, Prabhu. Shraddha, first you should have a basic faith, not a blind faith, basic faith. When you have this basic faith, then the next stage comes that you will be surrounded by sadhu sangha, you will be among the devotees, the association of the devotees. Then bhajana kriya, then you come across your spiritual master, you identify one of them or anybody as your mentor, spiritual mentor. Then what happens? Anatta nivrittisya. Then all the anattas will be slowly driven away. Then you'll develop nishtha, then asakti, then bhava, prema. So this stage is given already. So one can take up this process and see whether it is really working or not. Okay. Now, the moment the spiritual master comes into picture, then till that time you'll be walking. The moment he comes in, you will get an escalator straight. Right? So to get that escalator, we have to do our part. That is the initial part of it. Okay, Prabhu? If you have something more to add, it will be nice, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu.
Now my additional question is that okay, we are in touch with Guru, spiritual master, and spiritual master has taken us under his shelter, but he has given certain daily practices or principles which we have to do throughout our life.
Correct.
So, but that one has to very sincerely follow those things, isn't it? That
Prabhu, the first thing when we take initiation is that we are promising the spiritual master that he will do 16 rounds a day and 25 rounds on Ekadashi. At least we utter this.
yes.
So the onus lies on the disciple that whatever promise he has given to the spiritual master, sticks to that. There is no question about it.
Yeah.
When spiritual master inquires from you, okay, how many rounds you are chanting, sometimes, it may happen that, we may not be chanting the complete round, but again, the spiritual master, he is the full authority to decide whether to accept you as a disciple or not, and say, still he can go ahead and give you, out of his, again, his causeless mercy that he may give you the initiation and tell you, okay, from now onwards you chant 16 rounds. So it becomes an instruction. So the instruction has to be followed. There's no question of it. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Great. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Gurudev ki jai, Vyai Bhakta ki jai, Jai Gaura Pramanande Hari Hari Bol. Vancha
Krishna Prabhu ki jai. Jai Kripal Maharaj ki jai. All glories to assembled devotees. Thank you all for joining in today's Bhagavatam session. See you all in tomorrow's Bhagavatam session. Hare Krishna. Thank you.